All right, well, hello, hello. Thank you so much for coming back for another lesson in SEDA College Online's intermediate lessons. I hope you're ready to learn because we have a very good lesson planned for today, and I hope you're doing well. I hope you're happy and healthy and doing well during all of this. So let's begin. I think we have a very good lesson planned. We're going to talk all about conjunctions. So I'm going to spend some time talking generally about conjunctions. I want to give a little introduction to what they are and what kind of function they have in English or in language, really, all languages, um, because they're one of the core parts of speech. So the parts of speech, I'm saying part of speech, um, are things like nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, all of those words and those categories. Well, conjunctions are another category. We've talked a little bit about them before in the previous lessons, especially when we were talking about sentence types. But I'm not going to talk only about conjunctions in general because we have some specific conjunctions I want to work with today. Those are whatever, whenever, however, wherever, and whoever. Yeah, we've got those are the five conjunctions I really want to focus on today, what they mean and how to use them. All right. Well, as I said, conjunctions in general. So, they're one of the fundamental parts of language. So, you can talk about words as parts of speech. So, the different categories that all words can fall under. There are generally considered, some people argue more, some people argue less, but an accepted idea is that there are eight parts of speech. We have nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, articles, so a, an, the, um, prepositions, conjunctions, and pronouns. So those are the eight parts of speech, and we're going to focus on conjunctions. So what are they? Well, conjunctions are words that are used to connect parts of speech together. Um, it's in the name here, conjunction, conjoin, together. This root here has the idea of connecting. Um, and there are a couple different categories of conjunctions. So some conjunctions can link equal parts together. So not all sentences are equal and not all parts of a sentence are equal. So there's a specific category for ones that can link equal parts together. And then there are some that deal with clauses, unequal parts, so independent and dependent clauses. These two conjunctions are where the whole sentence idea comes in. When we were talking about sentence types in a previous lesson, I talked about simple sentences, compound sentences, complex sentences, and compound complex sentences. Well, the three more advanced, so not simple, but the other three, all have to do with conjunctions because we're connecting things together to make bigger sentences. And so we were dealing with these conjunctions. I just didn't talk about them as conjunctions yet because that was for this lesson. um, so now we're going to look at that. So these are all of the conjunctions for equal parts. So we have and, or, so, but, yet, for, and nor. Um, these three are very literary. So we use them for writing, novels, literature, poems, those sorts of things. It's not very common to use these as conjunctions in speaking. These four, however, are very common. You know them, and, or, so, and but. You use them every day. And so these are for linking equal things together. And then there is a huge list of conjunctions for clauses, like dependent and independent clauses. Things like since, because, although, after, before, and there are many, many more. These clauses work, or these conjunctions work to connect a dependent clause to an independent clause so we can make complex sentences. So what does that look like? Well, here's an example of the first category, these things of equal parts. So I love cats and dogs. Here I'm using the word and to connect two nouns. So we have an object of the verb here. I love what? Well, I love cats as a noun, and I love dogs. Well, I can use a conjunction to connect them together. I love cats and dogs, and this unit now is equal part noun, noun. They can connect larger parts. Rochelle walks to the beach, but not to the park. Well, now I'm using the conjunction but to connect prepositional phrases. So we can connect whole phrases to the beach, not to the park. Um, and that's what's so important is that these conjunctions always connect the same thing together, always the same category. So noun and noun, prepositional phrase to the park, to the beach, and not here is part of that. Or as the case is with, what is it, complex, simple, compound. There we go. Sorry, it takes me a minute sometimes to remember. Compound, compound sentences. Um, they can connect whole sentences together. I want to go out for pizza. They want to go out for pizza, or they want to go out for Japanese food. So now we still have equal parts, but now it's just an entire sentence. So that's what I mean, is that these types of conjunctions, and, but, or, so, all connect equal parts. So how about the unequal parts, those clauses? Well, before we go out, I need to take a shower. We talked about this kind of complex sentence before, and now you can see the conjunction here is really allowing me to put together two independent sentences. We go out, complete sentence. I need to take a shower, complete sentence. But I cannot just put them together. I need something to help, make a bridge to connect the two sentences together. Well, I could use a conjunction like this, but it's not the right meaning. So we use one of these types before. And so now I can put this sentence inside of this one. Before we go out, I need to take a shower. Or he loves dancing, although he's very bad at it. That's for me. I love dancing, but I'm very, very bad at it. Um, and so we can see here we have still two sentences. He is very bad at it. He loves dancing. And I want a conjunction here, so I put them together with although. And that way it shows that these ideas, these sentences are really one. Or another one, we can't go out because we don't have any petrol. Um, as you can see, all of these sentences are connecting whole clauses, or all of these conjunctions, sorry, are connecting whole clauses together. And that's their purpose. So these are parts, equal parts, noun, noun, phrase, phrase, sentence, sentence. Whereas these lets you put one sentence inside of another. Well, the conjunctions we're talking about today are this category. So, however, whenever, these are all this category of conjunctions, things that connect clauses. And just so you know, these are called subordinating conjunctions. That's the big fancy grammar word for them. To be subordinate means to be underneath. So that's what these clauses do. They take one sentence and make them under another, kind of in a hierarchy, boss, worker kind of way. You're taking one main sentence and making another one subordinate underneath it. So the first one I'll talk about is whatever. Whatever has two meanings. It can mean when something doesn't matter. When anything that you're talking about, it does not matter. Or we sometimes use it to mean what we say isn't important. And I'll show an example of these two meanings because they're kind of different ideas. So how do I use it in a sentence? Well, to use whatever, we need whatever and then a clause because these are conjunctions. So we need a whole sentence here, and then we attach it to the full complete sentence. So it'll always come together with a clause. And always remember our complex sentence rules. So whatever makes a complex sentence because we have a dependent clause and an independent clause. So remember, you need a comma if the whatever phrase is first. It's the rule for any, complex sentence. So what is the meaning? Well, the first one, when something doesn't matter, we'll go to whatever restaurant you want. Just choose. Maybe you have thought this sentence before when you were trying to take a friend for their birthday. Oh, let's go to a restaurant. It's your birthday. Well, we could go here or here or here. Oh, I don't know what I want. Maybe I want this. And you go, we'll go to whatever restaurant you want. Just choose one. Um, and so we can see the clause here. We have two sentences. We will go, you want, and we're connecting it with this whatever. There's a little bit more here with the preposition to, but don't worry about that. Um, or how about this? This is an example of when what we say doesn't matter, when it's not important. So this is a conversation between person A and person B. So person A, let's go to the park. Person B, what? You hate the park. Person A, whatever. I'm so bored. I don't care. Let's do something. Let's go to the park. And so here, this person is using sorry, this person is using whatever to show that their previous idea is unimportant. That previous thing they say, don't worry about it. It's not important. Let's do the other thing. Let's go to the park. So these are kind of the two ways. The first example, when something doesn't matter, is the most normal use for whatever that is kind of the basic use for it. We use it when it doesn't matter. Anything is okay. But we often use it in the other to mean, disregard what I say. It doesn't matter. I don't care. Whatever. So that's often used that way. All right, the next conjunction, whoever. Well, if you can guess the pattern, now what is for things, so who is for people. Yeah, when the person doesn't matter. Um, so all of these are connected to the pronoun right here that we're using. So when the person isn't important, we use whoever, or you can use it when you simply don't know the person. You don't have the information. It's not specific. And the form is the same. Whoever and a clause and then a sentence. So exact same rules as whatever. And the same comma rules apply. If whoever is first, please use a comma. If the whoever sentence is second, you don't need a comma. So some examples. Whoever you marry, the most important thing is to love them. So here we have a clearly complex sentence with two clauses. You marry, subject verb. The most important thing is to love them, sentence. And we're connecting them with whoever. So any person, whatever person you marry, the most important thing is to love them. So whoever. Or whoever gets up first, you have to take the plates to the kitchen. Yeah, so this is an example of number two. You don't know who. I don't know who will get up first, but I know whoever does, they are the person that needs to take the dishes. So you can see the two meanings here. This one, we've got the idea that the person isn't important. Any person on earth, whoever you marry, that you just make sure that this is true. Or here, I don't know who, but whoever is the first, they're the one to do this. So you've got both meanings with this. All right, the next conjunction is whenever. So I imagine you can see a pattern now. So whenever now is about time. So now the time isn't important. Or again, like whoever, you can use it when you don't know the exact details about time. So it's either when it's not important or you don't know the specific things. So how do we use it? Well, the first part is exactly the same. Whenever, clause, sentence. So all of these will have the same form because they're all the same category of words. They're all conjunctions. And the same punctuation as applies. When the phrase is first, use a comma. So whenever you go to the shop, please buy us some milk. So it's unimportant. Whenever you go, is it a minute from now, an hour, a day? Doesn't matter. But whenever you do go to the shop, please buy some milk. Or the party will be great whenever it happens. So now we can see the other side, comma here and no comma. And the party will be great whenever it happens. It can happen tomorrow, the next day, next week, next year. It doesn't matter. Whenever it happens, it will be great. So you can see the two meanings here. When it isn't important, or if you don't know the details. I don't know when the party happens, but I know when it does, it'll be great. All right, three conjunctions, two more to go. So the next is wherever. Note the spelling on this one. So all of the other conjunctions were very clear. It was the pronoun who, what, um, where, when, why, or not why, but how, and then just the word ever attached. This one is a little different. So this one we actually remove an E because if we had a where, WHERE, and then ever together, EVRE, if we put them together, it would be WHERE It's too many E's, too many. So we remove one, and so it's WHER, where, and then ever. So just remember the spelling is different for this one. This meaning now is about location. So now the location isn't important, or again, you don't know the specific location, either meaning. And the form's the same. Wherever clause, and then you attach it to a sentence, and if wherever's first, you need a comma. So what does this one look like? I want to go wherever you want to go. So now, maybe the same idea as a restaurant. Well, where do you want to eat? Doesn't matter. I want to go wherever you want to go. Just choose a restaurant. So we've got our clause here, wherever you want to go, I want to go. And because it's second, we don't need a comma. Or wherever you go, comma, first, you'll make new friends. So now we are talking about where it doesn't matter. You know, you can go to any country, any city, any village, you'll make new friends. Or now this is about I don't know the details. I don't have the specific information. Whenever we have the meeting, make sure, or wherever we have the meeting, make sure it has coffee. So I don't know where it will be. Wherever it is, it must have coffee. Very important for a meeting. Um, so you can see here, this one's all about location. Okay, the final one, however. So this one might be the most tricky to understand. So, however, is now talking about the way something is done, the manner, the method. So when you say however, you're not talking about what you're doing. You're talking about how it is done. What is the method that it is finished, or what is the manner that it is finished? And when you use however, it means it doesn't matter. Any method, any manner, any way is okay. And it has the same form as before, and you need the same punctuation. So cook the meal however you want. I'm hungry. So I don't care if it's grilled, fried, baked, steamed, sauteed. I don't care. I'm just hungry. I want food. Cook it however you want. Or however we get there, it needs to be affordable. So now this is the idea that the method of travel, airplane, train, bus, car, bicycle, however we get there, it just needs to be cheap. It needs to be affordable. Or however you make the coffee in the morning, please never stop. It's delicious. So this is more about I don't know the method. I don't know how you make coffee, but whatever method you do, you know, a fancy machine, a French press, a coffee pot, however, whatever method it is, please continue doing it because it's delicious. So you can see all of these, it's not about what. So however you cook the meal. In this sentence, I know the meal. It may not be clear, and you could change this for, however you cook the chicken. Cook the chicken however you want. I'm hungry. So here it's I know the thing that we will eat, and it's the chicken. What I don't care about is the method, whether you grill it, fry it, whatever, or however we get there. I know we will get there. It's not a question of what we'll do. We'll get there. It's just how we do it. Do we take a train, a plane, a bus, or however you make the coffee? Again, I know you make coffee. I just don't know the method. I don't know what machine or the amount or what type of coffee you use, but I know you make coffee. So that's the big distinction. Really, you might have a problem with whatever and however, and sometimes use them incorrect. So just remember, however is always about the method, whatever is always about the thing. Okay, so let's try to practice these. So we're going to use all of these conjunctions. Whatever, whenever, whoever, whenever, sorry, wherever, and however. We're going to use all of these in sentences, and I'll give you a choice. So there will be a complete sentence with two pronoun, or sorry, two conjunction choices. You just need to choose the correct conjunction for each sentence. I'll go through all 6 sentences, and then we'll start back at number 1 and check all the answers. So the first sentence. You should always stay together, whatever, however happens. So just choose which one do you think is correct for number 1, whatever or however. Number 2, this is a difficult problem whenever, however, you try to solve it. Always think about, this pronoun here. So this is for things, time, people, location, method. Always check what's the meaning because that meaning is very important. Number 3, whenever or wherever you get the chance, please call me. Yeah, whenever or wherever you get the chance, meaning the opportunity. Whenever you have the opportunity, please call me. Number 4, whoever, whatever called me left a strange voicemail. Whoever or whatever called me left a strange voicemail. If anyone's unclear, voicemail is where you call someone, they cannot answer the phone, so you record a message for them to hear later. That's voicemail. Number 5, I keep hearing a strange sound whenever, wherever I go in the house. So, what are we talking about here? Is it time or location? And then the final one, number 6. I will go with you wherever or however you want. I'll go with you wherever or however you want. All right. So have a moment, try to guess. Just think in your mind which is correct for each sentence, and then in just a moment, we'll check. Yeah. Be very careful with the ideas. That's what's so important with all of these. What is it actually talking about? A thing, time, a person, a location. Okay. So I hope you have a guess for all 6. Let's go through and talk about them. So I'll start with number 1. You should always stay together, whatever or however happens. Yeah. So in this one, are we talking about a thing or a method? Well, really, it's a thing, whatever. I'm talking about, you know, anything can happen, and no matter what happens, we need to stay together. Not about how we stay together, not the method, but talking about the other events, the things. All right, number 2. This is a difficult problem whenever or however you try to solve it. So this one's actually a little tricky because you could argue maybe for both. The best answer is however. So this is a difficult problem however you try to solve it. No matter what method you choose, no matter what way you choose, it's a difficult problem. Um, you could make a case for whenever there's a difficult problem whenever you try to solve it. Maybe if the problem happens every year, I can try to solve it in summer or winter or spring or fall. It's always difficult. But really, the idea is the method here, no matter what method you choose. So however is better. All right, number 3. Whenever or wherever you get the chance, please call me. So now, this one's really the most natural is whenever. In this sentence, this is a very common expression in English whenever you get the chance, as kind of a complete expression. And it can be many different things. Whenever you get a chance, call me. Whenever you get a chance, please come to my house. Whenever you get a chance, send me a letter. It's a very common expression, and it's always with whenever usually, because I'm thinking about time. Whenever you have free time, please do this. All right. Next, whoever or whatever called me left a strange voicemail. Well, the correct answer to this one is whoever. Yeah, it's a phone, so it's a person. A person is the one who calls. Maybe Maybe in some horror movie or horror book, someone will say whatever called me to make a special case about monsters or aliens or things. But in normal speech, always a human will use a phone, so whoever. All right. Number 5. I keep hearing strange sounds wherever I go in the house. So now we're talking about location. I can be in the kitchen, the bathroom, the closet, the pantry. I hear strange sounds, so it's wherever I go, any location. And then finally, I will go with you wherever or however you want. What about this one? Maybe you think a little, you can't decide. Well, that's because in this one, really both are correct. This one's totally your meaning, your interpretation. So I will go with you wherever you want. So we can go to any place, or I'll go with you however you want. We know that we're going to Paris. I know, but I'll go to Paris with you however you want. Do you want to go by plane, by train, by boat, by car? However you want, we'll go. So this one just depends on your meaning. If you're talking about where, location, Paris, Milan, Budapest, wherever, or however, plane, train, this one both are correct. All right. Well, I hope these 6 sentences help showed how we use these and the kinds of meanings. Because finally now I just have some additional notes I want to talk about, some things at the end to clear up. So really there's another one. I only talked about 5, whatever, whenever, wherever, however, whoever, but there's actually a sixth one, whichever. Sometimes we use whichever when there is a clear choice. It's really a synonym for whatever. They're almost exactly the same. It's just whichever is for two choices. And so we'll always talk about whichever choice, A or B. Neither it matters, they're both equal. But you could also say whatever for this. But just know if you hear whichever, it's just talking about a choice. As well, whatever can be used alone, just as its own word, its own sentence. And this is a way to dismiss what someone else says. So when someone says something to you, you can use whatever to say, ugh, I don't care about that. That's unimportant. Or in conversation, you can use these words to be vague, to intentionally remove information or to leave your idea open for information. And I'll show an example for all of these. So the first one, whichever you choose, a cat or a dog, you'll love them. You'll love. Whichever you choose, you'll love. Um, so you could say whatever here. Whatever you choose, a cat or a dog, you'll love. Or whichever. And here, some people will say which just because we have such a clear choice, cat or dog. So sometimes which feels more natural, but whichever, whatever. In this example, they're the same. Number 2, to dismiss. I can't believe you didn't finish the dishes. Whatever. I didn't have time. Um, so in this example, someone has spoken to you. They say, what? I can't believe you didn't finish the dishes. And you can just say, oh, whatever. I didn't have time. So you can use this as kind of an expression to really emphasize what you say is unimportant. I don't care. It is different from how we used it before, such as like, you know, whatever you want, we can have it. That's a different example. This is more about dismissing. I don't care what you say. Or how about this one? In conversation, you can be intentionally vague. So, can I send you some information? Can I send some information? Yes. Whatever would be helpful whenever you have time. So now this is, I am being intentionally vague so that the other person can give me the information and the time. So I don't care. Whatever they have, whenever they can, I'll take it. Um, so you can use it this way to be kind of vague and to leave your idea open for information. So these are just some extra usages. They're a little different from how we used it before and how we were talking about, but they're very common. So I wanted to talk about them just so you could see these are also other ways to use these words. Really, all of them can be used in these different ways. All right. Well, that's everything for today. So, what did we talk about? We talked about conjunctions in this lesson. We talked all about the types, equal part conjunctions, and or but, and then these conjunctions, which connect clauses. Whatever, meaning anything, wherever, meaning any place, whoever, meaning any person, whenever, meaning any time, however, meaning any method. And then we added whichever at the end, just so you know it's sometimes used for options when they're both equal. And then at the end, we talked about some additional notes for conversation. So, of course, if you're a SEDA student, you can go to the Google Classroom to get some more practice with these words. There'll be some activities for you there. And everyone else, thank you so much. Thank you for coming to watch another lesson. I hope this was helpful. I hope it was fun. And I hope you feel a little more confident to use these conjunctions in your conversations. So I hope you have a good day. And please come back again and we'll learn another lesson. So thank you so much. Bye bye.